What's going on, internet? I am the masked man, and as you can tell by the title of this video, I want to talk about, a popular phrase that is used a lot, to describe um, male behavior, or a certain type of male behavior today. I was listening to the radio this morning as I was going about my day, and I heard a story about Stacey Dash, her ex boyfriend, made a tweet saying that he misses the life of the baby that she aborted. And on the radio show that I was listening to, the female host said that he was in his feelings and that he didn't need to say that about Stacey Dash. And the other host, or the other male host or whatever, was saying, well, she passes herself off as a pro-life advocate. She claims to be pro-life. It's a bit of a contradiction for her to be beating the drum about pro-life, and she aborted her baby. But the approach that she was taking was, he was in his feelings, basically meaning you should keep that to yourself. You're acting emotional. You're looking, basically it's a syndicated radio show. So she did everything except say you acting like a bitch. Um she said something about panties. He's wearing panties. You acting like a female. And I didn't know whether to title this video, he's in his feelings, or in his feelings, or in their feelings. But this is something that's typically applied to men. Women have a little bit more latitude, but they can get it too. But I'm going to direct it at men, because men don't have a lot of latitude to be quote unquote emotional in the first place. It appears to me that when I look out into the media, when I look out into what is promoted, what's talked about, what's celebrated, and what's glorified, you can pretty much say and do what you want. You can get away with a lot of flagrant bullshit. You can get away with a lot of ignorance, a lot of pettiness, a lot of childishness. But anytime you say something, you know where you have a legitimate point, where you have a legitimate gripe, anytime you're saying something too real, people try to shame you for saying, something that you really feel and you really mean. Now, I don't want to make it seem like anything you want to get on the internet and rant about, the public needs to consume it. That anything, like everything that's going on in your life, is not for everybody. Every emotion that you have, every feeling that you have, is not meant to be shared with the world. And I'm not saying that it is, or implying that it should be. But I think I made a video about this a while back. I saw an interview on Sway in the Morning where, some white guy whose name I can't recall at the moment was talking about um, Terrence Howard. Terrence Howard, and how when he didn't get recast on Iron Man, how he was upset and he made it publicly known because he took a reduction in pay to get Robert Downey Jr. to be a part of the film. And when it was time to return the favor, Robert didn't fight for him. And the white guy didn't use the terminology of he was in his feelings, but he basically said that's not something that should be said. That's not something that should be spoken. I'm curious as who gets to make the rules for what is and what isn't acceptable to say. Like who are the speech police of what is and isn't appropriate, to be said in public. I'm not a fan of this shaming committee anytime somebody talks about something that they have a legitimate reason to be bitter about. Like, they got a right to be bitter. Bitterness is a real emotion. It's a real thing, and it is not always inappropriate to voice bitterness and anger. I was a loyal, David Letterman fan. I followed David Letterman, since I was very young, and even though it was challenging for me to watch the end, not challenging because I was emotional or challenging because the show had declined, but just it was hard to see. It was challenging for me to watch, the last episodes of the late night show because in my house, because not my house, because where I stay, it's very difficult to get a hold of the television. It's very difficult to sit down and focus on what's going on the television. So I like to hang back. But I watched the end of the David Letterman show, and one of the things that I really, I wish, David Letterman did not do is that he had this fake, humility and this phony I'm gonna be the bigger man thing, where Jay Leno snaked the Tonight Show away from David Letterman, and David Letterman never publicly flamed his ass about it. He never publicly, made a stink. He never got on television and vented his frustration, vented his anger, made Jay Leno like, he could have just declared war on Jay Leno and that show, and really just made for interesting television because he had righteous indignation. He was righteous to be bitter and righteous to, feel some type of way. And he could have captured the emotions of all of the people in the world who get passed over for promotions, for people who are less qualified, all of the people who have trained their supervisors and their superiors, all of the people that, work a job and they work so hard only for nepotism to have people come in and swoop up a better position or be downsized or downgraded. He could have had a connection with all of those people, and he would have stayed on the air. It may have been a risk, to take the bitterness route, the I'm mad about something route, but it does two things. It gives you a deeper connection to other people who have been wronged, and it gives you the opportunity later to make amends. Dave could never have the Jay Leno come on David Letterman's show and squash it because he was never mad. He was never mad to begin with. He never vented any type of frustration. He never showed any type of anger. It was never Jay Leno's fault. It was just what it was. And we know that you had a problem with it. We know that you wanted it. And you are just putting on this facade of being the bigger man because that's what a man is supposed to do. A man is supposed to front like he's not angry. A man is supposed to front like he's not mad. A man is not supposed to holler when he's hurt. A man is not supposed to say what it actually is. He's supposed to just go along with his day as if nothing ever happened to him. And I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. I think the job, of a real man. Well, let me not say that awful, horrible, terrible phrase. Let me not don't ever let me say that shit again. But I think one of the things that is human and is natural and is valuable for a man to do is to vent his grievances and to say what he feels and to say what he thinks and, put it out there for the court. Now, I don't know what this man said, if it was right or not to say, but he had a legitimate reason to say it. A woman aborting the child that you want to have is a real thing. That's a real thing. People talk a lot about women's choice and, it's her body, her baby, her decision. And, I'm very pro-abortion. Kill that baby, bitch. I'm very pro-abortion. I don't want any woman giving birth to a child that she does not want to have. There's nothing worse than a mother who don't want to be a mother. So that baby is better off never being born than being born to a mother that does not love it. Trust me on that. So I don't give a fuck about abortion. I don't look down my nose at any woman that had one. But there is a real thing where a man wants a child. A man wants a child with a particular woman. A man wants a family with a particular woman. He's invested in it. He's emotionally connected to her and to the relationship. And when she decides on her own with no consulting that she's just going to make this decision, he can be hurt by that. She got every right to decide to do what she want to do with her body. She got 100% right. It's her right, to do it, but he can be hurt by it. And if she does that and hurt him, and possibly that was the catalyst for the disintegration of their relationship, and then she turns around and want to pass herself off as, a pro-life advocate, this person who is uber concerned about family and family values, he's within his right to point out her hypocrisy. Now, I don't know if this man is black or white. Knowing what I know about Stacey Dash, it's probably a white guy that's doing this, so. But it could be a brother. I don't know who it is. I don't know what it is. And I don't think it matters one way or the other. But legitimate gripes should be heard just as well as the gossip, just as well as the pettiness, just as much as the Meek Mill and all of that, the game, just as much as people talk about that and make a big deal of that and make an issue of that, People should also talk, about the real deal and things that actually happen to real people. And that should be discussed. But that's just my 2 cents on it. I could probably say a lot more, but you know, I feel that I've made my point, and I feel that I've said what I wanted to say. I just want to say that men have a right to be in their feelings because men have feelings. So if I want to be in my feelings, I'm going to be in my feelings, and I don't particularly care that you have a problem with me having feelings that I express. If you got a problem with what I said, say that I'm wrong. Say that what I said ain't true. Say that what I said is destructive. Say that what I said is inaccurate. It's not factual. It's not relevant. Say that. But don't just say, oh, he's in his feelings, as if to say I don't have a right to speak what I think. But that's just what I got to say about that. Let me know what you think of this video in the comments. Let me know what you think about the phrase in his feelings or in their feelings. Leave it in the comments. You can rate the video, like it, dislike it, subscribe to my channel. If there's anything you would like me to talk about, or any story that's going on that you want me to address, you can send me a story or send me a link at themrmaskman@gmail.com. You can find some of my videos on Daily Motion at the Mr. Maskman. You can find me on Facebook and Twitter at the Mr. Maskman. That is all I have to say about this subject. I will see you in the next video.